Hi, my name is Sophia Butler-Cowdery and I am an Honestly Healthy Fitness Ambassador. Today I'll be guiding you through a simple but effective spinal mobility sequence. This sequence will support and release your upper body whilst helping you to strengthen and mobilise your spine and your core while you are following the Honestly Healthy Green and Lean plan. So just start sitting upright and then lying down onto the mat, trying to keep the spine long and the lower back flat. Just draw your knees up so you can just about touch your heels, hip width apart. Just do some pelvic tilts. I just want you to inhale and exhale, just flatten the lower back. So coming into the breath and the body, inhaling, releasing, and exhaling, flattening the lower back. So inhaling, releasing, and exhaling, flattening the lower back. Inhaling to release and exhale to flatten. Just feel your lower ribs drawing in when you exhale to flatten. On the next exhale as you flatten, keep it there. Just interlace your fingers behind your head. Just gently extend through the back of the neck. So just trying to lengthen your spine gently, not pulling. Almost feel like you're pulling diagonally behind you to feel some extra space through the spine from your hips all the way up out the back of the neck and the crown of the head. Just seeing the elbows in your periphery. And then release down again. So pressing more weight into the feet this time. Exhale, flatten your lower back and inhale, release. On the next exhale, flatten your lower back and then push all the way up. So you're in a bridge pose. So make sure your glutes are on and your knees are pushing forwards. So inner thighs are active. Shuffle your shoulder blades so they feel flat underneath you. Keep the tailbone long. Exhale and come all the way back down to the mat, one vertebra at a time, keeping your lower back lengthened until last. Inhale, release to neutral spine. And exhale, flatten lower back, peeling all the way up, trying to keep the pelvis as steady as you can. Equal height between the hip bones and the floor. Push the tailbone even longer underneath you. And then peel down again, one vertebra at a time, all the way back. So feel that beautiful length in the lower back as you do that. Exhale to release. Exhale, coming all the way back up. Inhale at the top. And exhaling, one vertebra at a time, coming back down. Inhale to release. And exhale, flatten, pushing all the way up. This time, inhale, take your hands overhead. Breathe here, release. Inhale, put your hands back down to the mat and exhale, one vertebra at a time. Pelvis really steady and then release to neutral. Take your feet quite wide and drop your knees over to the left and the right, the left and the right, just to feel the lower back release again. And then come up through center. Take your soles of your feet together, allow your knees to be dropping out heavy to the sides. If you have a block or two, you can place one block under each of your thighs to support. Then it just feels like a little bit nicer if your hips are not that open yet, but you would like to increase the space here. So just a few breaths here. So if you don't need the block, just take it away. See how it feels. Do you feel equally open on the right and the left sides? Practice breathing or allowing the hips to release. Maybe try and breathe sideways, lateral breathing, expanding the ribcage. Inhaling, create space into the side body. So it's not just up and down, but it's sideways, three-dimensional breath. Draw your knees back up and take the feet as wide as the mat. So we go from external rotation of the thighs to internal rotation. It should feel like a really nice release actually. And see how it feels like it's lengthening your lower back, even in this pose. Another more deeper breath. And then shuffle your feet back together, hug your knees into your chest, and just gently rock right and left. So feel the lower back being massaged by the floor. Hold behind the thighs, we'll just roll up and down the spine lengthways now. So you can inhale, come up, and exhale, release. Inhale to come up, exhale back. Try and tuck yourself into a really tight ball shape, because then it will feel like a much nicer massage for your back in this position. You can also notice whether you find there are any flat spaces along the spine. So that's just a little indicator that maybe there's a place that's stuck. So it's just something to notice and be aware of, so that actually, as you begin to mobilize your spine, as you increase your practices, the number of your practices, you can see whether that place eases up. So there's actually like equal space between all the vertebrae, so that this round shape actually feels like a great massage. And then inhale, last one, come up. Take your thighs parallel again. Just place your right arm over your knees, gently holding the knees, and twist around to the left, keeping the chest lifted. And come back through center. Exhale, twist the other way. Come back through center. One more left. Lifting the chest up. And then right. And then take it down. From here, place your left hand by the side of your hip. Just have your elbows sort of facing into the hip if you can. Extend your right arm overhead. Try and press the palm of the hand up to the ceiling and just stretch through your right side body. Almost like you want to ground that right hip into the floor. You can use your left hand to keep that hip there. And breathe into the right side even more. And then release. Take your right hand down. Breathe into the left side body. Almost trying to keep that right elbow towards the hip. And extending the palm of your left hand up towards the ceiling. Breathe into your left lung. And then come back. Good. From here, let's do some spinal rolls. So just tuck your tailbone under. Releasing through your whole back. C-shape, gently holding the front of your knees. And then inhale to lift your chest. Each vertebrae stacks on top of its neighbor. And then exhale, lower back, middle back, upper back, gently holding the front of the knees. Feel your core engage. Inhale, lift your chest up. All the way, neutral spine. And exhale, tuck the tailbone. Drawing the lower ribs tightly into the body. Opening the space between the shoulder blades. And inhale to come up to seated. Feel that length and that space. Good, one more. Again, notice any places in the spine that may feel a little stuck here. We're trying to feel that there's that C-shape evenly from your tailbone right through to the back of the neck and the head. And then inhale gently, coming all of the way up. So from here, I just want you to extend your legs long and then just fold softly over your legs, not trying to reach the feet. I just want you to notice how your body feels, how the spine feels, and how the muscles either side of the spine feel, right and left sides of the back. Just notice anything in the legs, maybe a tingling or maybe just a gentle pulling sensation of your hamstrings or your calves. Also notice whether you feel it in the back of the knees. If you do, that's probably the hamstrings pulling at the attachment points. So just notice it, don't push, I just want you to feel. It's just a good reference point. So as we develop our practice and come onto the mat more regularly, we can take this pose, this soft, relaxing pose over the legs and just notice the difference as we progress. So it may be that you're just sitting up tall here and you feel it enough, but just notice. From here, cross your ankles and come onto all fours. So make sure your hands are directly below the shoulders, your knees and your thighs are hip width apart. And draw your lower ribs into your belly. So feel like you're actually doing a pelvic tilt here. So remember, when we're lying on our backs, it's just inhaling neutral and exhaling to flatten. So try and think of that even though we're now facing the other way. So exhale, tuck the tailbone, and inhale to release. Notice my middle and my upper back are not moving. Just the pelvis tucking under and releasing. Exhale, tuck, and inhale, release. This time, take your full cat and cow, so tailbone tucks, and then continue the movement all the way up the spine, pushing up between the shoulder blades and releasing the head. And then inhale, start the movement with the lower back arching, middle back, upper back, Send the gaze gently upwards, strong arms. Sending shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, round, lower back, middle back, upper back, head drops last. And then inhale, arching the other way. So feel those spaces between the spine, opening the chest, and then looking up. And exhale, last one. Push away from the floor. Really open the shoulder blades, strong through your fingers and your arms. And then releasing back to neutral spine. From here, really draw your lower ribs in towards your spine, so you feel that connection in your core. Send your right arm forwards, tuck your tailbone, and then send your left heel away, so the leg is parallel to the floor. The more you try and tuck your tailbone, you should notice that your lower back is actually in neutral spine. Stay here, try to really balance your pelvis. Resist that urge to wobble. So notice if you don't try and tuck the tailbone, that leg pings up, your hip opens, and you're really arching the lower back. So try to resist that. Think of tailbone tucking under, reach hand, heel away, and then bring both of them back to the floor. So steady the pelvis, keep the shoulder blades wrapping down the spine. So rather than shoulders in the ears, you're creating space, engaging the muscles below the armpits. Send your left arm away. Tailbone gently tucks, and then pick up your right heel with control, so we're not wobbling. Extend that back leg back. Keep the lower ribs drawing into the body. Breathe. Reach hand, heel away. Strong through that back leg. The toes are trying to face towards the mat at the back. Good. One more deep breath, reach, and then hand and knee back to the mat. Do one more each side, not quite as long this time. So pick up your right hand, inhale, tuck tailbone, and then press your left heel. So you're pushing the wall away behind you with a flat foot. Reach, and then hand and knee back to the mat. Reach your left arm forward. Steady your hips, tuck tailbone, and then send your right heel to the back. Breathe. One more deep inhale, and then bring back to the mat. Good. Sit back in a child's pose from here. Take the knees a little wider than the body. Maybe have active hands. So really strong through your fingertips. Palm of the hands are lifted high. And then use that connection through your arms and your hands to push your lower back deeper towards your heels. Maybe releasing the forehead to the floor. If you have any pain in your knees, you can always place a towel between the calves and your thighs. It just keeps your bottom a little higher. And maybe even between your ankles and the floor, you could place a little towel. If you feel you're straining the back of your neck to make your forehead soften to the mat, then again, you can take your block and just place the head to the block. So always options to keep your body supported where it's comfortable for you. So from this position, just take your hands over to the left side. Place your right hand on top of your left hand and see if you can get your head through your arms and looking to the front of your mat. So you really want to try and turn that right side of the body open so you feel that stretch down your whole sideways, moving through your right hip. So try and really get your head between your arms and opening through the rib cage. Good. Release and then just walk your hands over to the other side. So again, right hand over, left hand on top. Try and get the head through the middle and gently looking forwards. If you can, almost try and think that you're anchoring that left hip bone towards your left heel. So the stretch is a genuine stretch. Breathe one more, try and open the chest. Good, and then come back through center, releasing. Good, just notice how the body feels here. From your child's pose, just come up again onto the knees. Bring your knees much closer this time, about hip width apart, so there's a little space. Draw your elbows towards your knees so your forearms are parallel. Fingers are spread. I want you to inhale to lift your chest up, try and flatten your back. And exhale, soften the spine. Inhale, squeeze your elbows to your knees, lift up. And exhale, soften the body down. Two more like this. Inhale elbows towards your knees, lift your chest. Try and send your shoulder blades down the back. And then release, soften. Good. Last one, inhale. Send your shoulder blades down the back. Feel the extension, length. And then release and soften. So from here, you're just going to come up and lie down on your back. Just going to do some core work before we go into a strengthening the posterior chain, the back side of the body. So it's good to start to engage the front first. So again, flattening your lower back into the floor, knees up, thighs hip width apart. Make sure your feet stay straight. Tuck the tailbone under, flatten, peel all the way up. So feel your glutes are engaging here. Knees pushing forwards. And interlace your fingers underneath you. Shuffle the shoulder blades flat. Try and lift your chest up even more, opening your heart. Drawing your lower ribs in and lengthening your tailbone even more. There should be a 90-degree bend in the knees here. Breathe. Good. So you can stay here. Options. Try and level your pelvis. And maybe pick up your knee and straighten the leg. So notice my pelvis hasn't moved. The hip bones are still equally high off the floor. Raise that foot. Drop it down. Keep the hips level. Lift your left knee, maybe straighten. Options. Bend the knee, place the foot back down. Lengthen tailbone. Release the arms. Peel down one vertebra at a time. So feel that length happening in the lower back. Drop the knees to the left and the right. So if we really engage and do it properly, it's really hard work. It's very easy just to extend the lower back in bridge pose or any variation of bridge pose and avoid switching the glutes on, avoid using the inner thighs, and just get this deep compression in the lower back that we don't want. We really want to strengthen the core, especially at the front. So drawing those lower ribs in. So again, making sure you just touch the heels. Flatten the lower back, push up, level the hip bones, interlace the hands gently underneath you, shuffle shoulder blades, open the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together at the back, length through the back of the neck, hands on the floor, lengthen the tailbone. So if this is enough for you, just stay here. Breathe. So options if you want to lift the leg, straighten the leg, keep the tailbone long. Energy through to that top foot. Bring the foot back. Tailbone is still long. Pick up your left leg. So trying to even avoid that instability through the pelvis as you pick up a leg. That's where we get that strength from. When we create the instability, find stability through the body to balance it out. Good. Release the hands. Tailbone long. And peel back down to the mat. Good. Drop the knees to the right and to the left and release. Good. So from here, lifting up your legs above your hips. Keeping your lower back really flat. Take your legs as far as you can without arching the spine. So you have to draw your lower ribs in, lengthen your tailbone. So take your legs as far as you can without arching, resisting the arch. Now try to soften the shoulders, maybe even take your arms across your chest. Breathing here for 3 more. Inhale and exhale. Keep drawing your lower ribs in. Good. Last one. Breathe. And then gently knees into the chest. Release. Massage the lower back. Good. One more variation like this. Lift the legs up. Again, soften your arms across your chest. And we can't cheat. Hover the legs down as far as you can before you feel that your lower back might begin to come off of the floor. So resisting, no space in the lower back between you and the mat. Hover your right heel towards the mat. Take a breath here. Inhale. And as you exhale, take 3, 2, 1 to draw that leg up. Hover your left foot down. Energy through to the toes, both sides. Keep the tailbone long. And then 3 counts to bring that leg back up. Good. 1 more. Hover your right heel down. Resist that arch in the lower back. Keep pressing lower ribs in. Breath. And then 3, 2, 1. Good. Last time on the left side. Keep that lower back lengthening. Take a breath at the bottom. And then 3 counts. 3, 2, 1. Good. Squeeze your knees in. If you feel like taking little hip circles, moving the knees in opposite directions. A few times one way, and then you go a few times the other way. Try and use the strength in your arms rather than your hip flexors to move the legs. It's really soft in your legs. Good. From here, lift your legs up, extend them out, keep the lower back flat. Good. Maybe draw the arms in, maybe soft arms by the side. Right, just squeeze your knees in and then try and lift your tailbone off of the floor. Slowly release it down and extend the legs. No space in the lower back. Draw your knees in, lift your tailbone up, and then extend the legs straight. So my lower back staying on the mat until I squeeze and lift it, tailbone off the floor. No space between you and the mat. Squeeze the knees in, lift tailbone, and extend the legs. Good. 3 more times. Knees in, extend tailbone up, and release the legs straight. Lower ribs in. Last 2. Squeeze. Extend the legs. Last one. Make it a good one. Knees in, lift up, and release. Good. Drop your knees to the right and to the left. Again, feel how it releases your spine when you do this. Feet wide. Good. So from here, we've activated through the front of the core. So now we're going to come on to our fronts. So feel that lower back is more protected when our core is strong at the front. So you take a cobra first. So you can have your hands by your chest. Point your toes. First thing we do, press the pubic bone into the floor. So engage your glutes, strong through your legs. And then lift up through the crown of the head. So gently using the hands just to open the chest. Send your shoulder blades really strongly down your back so we're not having shoulders in the ears. You feel that opening through the body. Good. Draw your lower ribs in, so feel that core engage. We've activated it so much now, so we should feel it happening. Shoulder blades down. Good. Long through your tailbone. Keep breathing. Inhale. One more deep breath. Extend through the crown of your head. Good. Gaze just to the front of your mat. And then release to the floor. Look over to the right side and lift up your right knee. Level with your hips, so feel that nice release, like a sleeping baby pose. Just take a few moments here, allow the back to soften. Come back to the breath. Good. Place your legs behind you again. Point your toes. Pubic bone into the floor, so lengthening the lower back, almost trying to feel like it's flattening. And as you lift up this time, lift your hands off the floor. So really strong through your feet. Feet are flat. Engage the back of your thighs. Lift your chest up even higher. Keep the pubic bone into the floor. Length through the back of the neck. Place your hands back down. 2 more breaths. Use your hands to open your chest, but not your lower back. Breathe. Squeeze the elbows into the body gently. 1 more. Inhale. Lift up. And then come back down. Look over to the left side this time. And pick up the left knee along the floor, releasing the back. So just notice what's coming out the back of the legs. Strongly use there. Releasing the body. Breathe. Soften the ribcage. Soften the waist. Soften the legs. Good. A couple more breaths. And then from here, just roll onto your back again. So you've done small back bends. So final back bend for this sequence. Bring your feet fairly near to you. So this is optional. You can take the bridge pose again, just 90 degrees, interlace the fingers, always an option. Otherwise, let's go to a full wheel. So you can bring your feet closer, fingertips towards your shoulders. Draw your elbows in towards each other so the forearms are parallel. Good. Keep the feet straight. So when we push up, we have a tendency to let the feet flare out. Keep the feet straight. Good. Push up onto the front, top of the head first. Good. Draw those elbows in, feet straight. Really strong through your glutes. Lengthen your tailbone and then lift up through the chest. Good. Breathe. So trying to straighten the arms, trying to open the chest. So think of these heart openers, these back bends, as a chest opening rather than a lower back. So I'm still trying to draw my lower ribs in, my glutes are strong, my inner thighs are active here. Breathe, one more. On the next inhale, you can lift the head and slowly come back down to the mat. Lengthen your tailbone and gently just support your knees. So if you have your block, just place it under your sacrum. Very fused part, the very end of your spine, so not on the vertebrae of the spine, the very end of your back. Just support your legs with your hands, elbows to the body. Final resting space here. Try to have your inner thighs gently touching together, feet together. Just feel the spine soften and melt here. So just lifting up, removing the block away from underneath you, relaxing your feet back down. Just keep your knees and your feet together, drop them over to the left side. Extend your right hand behind you, keeping the palm facing up. If you have any pinching in the right shoulder, just bend your elbow a little. And then drop your head over to that right side and stay here for 5 breaths. See if you can anchor that right shoulder blade into the mat. Soften through your waist and your ribs. Allow the twist to take place. On your last exhale, use your core to draw your knees back up. Relax your knees, your feet over to the right side, and then extend your left arm behind you. Allow a gentle bend in the elbow if that's more comfortable, and then drop your head over to that left side. 5 deep breaths here. Try to release your waist, your rib cage, anchor through that left shoulder blade, and allow the twist to deepen a little. Almost feeling like each vertebrae of the spine is rotating equally next to its neighbour as you move your awareness up your spine. See if you can really feel that happening. On the next exhale, use your core, draw your knees back up to the centre. Softly hugging your knees to your chest. Again, maybe roll right and left. And then releasing down into your final relaxation pose. So, softening the legs, allow the feet to be heavy out to the side. Palms up, arms away from the body. Flatten your shoulder blades. Lengthen your back. Make sure your head is comfortably above your spine. And then just drop your head over to the right and the left a couple of times to release any tension in the neck. And then just find your stillness. Soften the whole body.